Across 6 continents, humans have built on ground that offers almost nothing. Sheer rock faces, volcanic pillars, canyon rims, and cliff edges above open sea. These are not ruins or abandoned experiments. Many remain in active use, some for over 1,000 years. What follows is a survey of 12 places where the physical limits of construction were pushed to their furthest point, and in several cases surpassed by what should have been impossible. In central Greece, a series of sandstone columns rises from the Thessalian plain to heights of up to 1,300 feet. These formations took shape roughly 60 million years ago when ancient sedimentary layers were compressed, lifted by geological movement, and then eroded over millions of years into near vertical walls. The result is a landscape that appears to have been cut rather than grown. In the 14th century, Orthodox Christian monks built monasteries on the summits of these columns. At the time, the only means of access were rope ladders and hauling nets raised hundreds of feet from the ground. There were no roads, no scaffolding in the conventional sense, and no margin for structural error. The buildings that survive today remain perched on those same summits, accessible now by staircases cut into the rock. When low cloud moves across the plain in the early morning, the bases of the columns disappear. The monastery complexes appear to sit on nothing. More than 2 million visitors travel to Meteora each year. The site is listed as UNESCO World Heritage Location, recognized for both its geological formation and the architecture placed on top of it. On the eastern face of the Himalayas in Bhutan, a monastery complex clings to a granite cliff at 10,236 feet above sea level. It rises approximately 2,953 feet above the valley floor below it. The structure is known internationally as the Tiger's Nest, and it functions as the most sacred religious site in the country. The approach requires a hike of 2 to 3 hours on foot or by horse, followed by a descent into a gorge and a climb back up more than 700 stone steps. The path offers no shortcut. The altitude reduces oxygen at every stage of the ascent. In 1998, a fire destroyed a substantial portion of the main structure. Reconstruction was completed in 2005 at a cost of several $1,000,000. The rebuilt complex matches the original in form and continues to draw pilgrims and visitors from across the world. Thousands of prayer flags are fixed along the approach route, running in dense lines against the gray rock face. In northwestern Iran, a village cut into volcanic rock has been continuously inhabited for more than 700 years. The settlement at Kandavan began when people fleeing Mongol forces carved shelter directly into the soft pumice formations of the region. The stone, shaped by centuries of wind, water, and thermal activity, formed into conical pillars standing between 33 and 49 feet tall. Each cone was hollowed from the inside and divided into levels. Animals were kept on the lower floors, daily living took place in the middle sections, and food was stored in the narrower upper chambers. There are no flat streets. Movement through the village requires climbing steep, rough steps cut directly into the rock. The thermal properties of the stone regulate temperature naturally. Interior spaces remain cool in the intense summer heat and retain warmth during winter temperatures that drop to around -4 degrees Fahrenheit without any electrical heating system. Families continue to live and raise children inside these structures today. In southern Georgia, a cave city carved into a volcanic cliff along the Mitkvadi River was constructed in the 12th century under Queen Tamar, one of the most powerful rulers in the medieval Caucasus. The complex at Vardzia was cut from a single mass of solid rock. No bricks, mortar, or nails were used in its original construction. Rooms, storage spaces, sleeping areas, and tunnels were formed entirely by removing stone. At its height, the complex contained more than 6,000 individual cave spaces distributed across 13 levels, with a total vertical height of approximately 164 feet. It was designed to shelter and sustain a population of up to 50,000 people for extended periods. In the 13th century, an earthquake measuring significant force stripped away approximately 49 feet of the outer rock face, exposing the interior structure and destroying roughly 75% of the complex. Thousands of rooms collapsed into the river below. The sections that remained intact are still accessible and continue to draw visitors and researchers. The site illustrates both the scale of what was achieved and the vulnerability of a structure dependent entirely on the stability of the mountain around it. In Andalusia, the city of Ronda occupies a limestone plateau at approximately 2,428 feet above sea level. A gorge cuts through the plateau's center, dropping to around 394 feet at its deepest point and narrowing to approximately 223 feet at its width. The gorge divides the city into two sections. Construction of the stone bridge connecting those two sections began in the 18th century and took 42 years to complete. The bridge remains in use. On the canyon rim, multi-story buildings with whitewashed facades and red tile roofs are built to the edge of the drop. Balconies extend over open air with unobstructed views of the gorge floor. The city also contains one of Spain's oldest bull rings, built from sandstone with 136 supporting columns arranged in elegant arches. The arena played a role in the codification of modern bullfighting rules, including the convention of the matador facing the bull on foot rather than on horseback. On the southern coast of Corsica, the town of Bonifacio stands on a white limestone cliff approximately 230 feet above the Mediterranean. The cliff face shows distinct horizontal strata, compressed sedimentary layers deposited over millions of years, now visible as parallel bands running the full length of the formation. Wave action has eroded the base of the cliff from below. The rock at water level has been carved back significantly further than the rock above it, creating an overhang. The buildings on the upper surface extend to the cliff edge, and from the sea, the lower stories appear to have no foundation beneath them. The streets inside the old town are narrow and follow an irregular pattern. This layout was not accidental. The configuration was designed to interrupt and deflect the strong winds that come off the open sea. The town has been occupied since at least the 9th century and functioned for much of its history as a fortified position controlling the straits between Corsica and Sardinia. In western Georgia, a freestanding limestone column rises 131 feet from the floor of the Katsura River Valley, completely separated from the surrounding terrain. The top surface measures approximately 1,615 square feet. A small monastery occupies that space. The column was in active use as a religious site until the Ottoman invasion of the 15th century, after which the summit was abandoned for approximately 500 years. Access today is by a vertical iron ladder running the full 131-foot height of the column's exterior. There is no alternative route to the top. At certain hours of the day, the limestone face absorbs and reflects direct sunlight, producing a strong orange and gold coloration across the entire column. The monastery at the summit, though small in scale, remains structurally intact and continues to receive visitors. In the Tigray region of northern Ethiopia, a church from the 5th century is located inside a cave near the top of a sandstone column rising to approximately 8,465 feet above sea level. The interior walls and ceiling are covered with murals painted in the 15th century using plant extracts, animal fat, and natural mineral pigments. The murals remain intact. The final section of the approach requires traversing a rock shelf approximately 20 inches wide. The path runs along the exterior of the column with an unobstructed vertical drop on one side. There are no safety rails, no fixed ropes, and no alternative route. In the lowland rainforest of West Papua, Indonesia, the Korowai people build their homes in the forest canopy at heights ranging from 33 to 164 feet above the ground. The structures are constructed from wood, bamboo, and palm leaves. Each treehouse is built around a living tree, with the top of the trunk cut to create a central load-bearing pillar. The surrounding framework is attached to this core. The Korowai remained unknown to the outside world until 1974, when outside contact was first recorded. The elevation of the structures is directly tied to the group's belief system. Proximity to the ground is associated with a predatory spirit. The height of the dwelling is understood as protective distance from that threat. The structures have a functional lifespan of 3 to 5 years before jungle moisture and termite activity compromise the materials. Each dwelling is then dismantled and rebuilt, typically at a new location and at a new height. The construction process is carried out without metal tools, fixed plans, or external materials. The forest provides everything used, and everything used eventually returns to it. These 12 locations share one characteristic. Each was built where conventional construction logic offers no foundation, no access, and no margin for failure. In every case, the people who built them found a solution. Many of those solutions have held for centuries. Several are still in use today.